Very busy here at the Weather Channel. We have 3 areas that we're tracking in the tropics tonight, but we also have a summer heat wave and summer thunderstorms that are causing some problems and have prompted severe thunderstorm warnings.
Yeah, we do. And take a look at Minnetonka, Minnesota early this morning. Believe it or not, folks, there's a car underneath all of those trees. Storms packing heavy winds, hail, and rain hit the area hard last night in the middle of the night, and as many as 27,000 residents lost power. Now, the extreme heat, it's killed 4 people in Kansas City. The latest victim, a 70-year-old man who officers found in his home with the air conditioner not running despite triple-digit heat. Several cooling centers are open around Kansas City with tomorrow's forecast high of 101. Those are some of the stories we're following tonight, but also the tropics. Stephanie takes a look at them right now. That's
right. We have 3 areas talking about here. Hurricane Flossie. Jim Cantore is here right on the southern tip of the Big Island. We're going to go live to him momentarily. Hurricane Flossie, a Category 2 hurricane, is going to bring wind and rain and potentially flooding to the Big Island there. Jim will have all those details coming up. Also, we have this disturbed area of weather in the Gulf of Mexico. And we have our own meteorologist, Jeff Morrow, live in Port Aransas, Texas. We'll head live to him as well. The hurricane hunters flew into this, and they did not find any organized area of low pressure. Regardless of what they found, it is going to bring some rain into Texas. Then we have Tropical Storm Dean at 40 miles per hour heading towards the Lesser Antilles. This thing, it looks like it will become a hurricane. We will continue to follow this. But what do you say we head live to where there's a hurricane threatening Hawaii right now with Mike?
Well, that is the most imminent threat, Flossie, and storm tracker Jim Cantore is monitoring the system as it nears Hawaii's Big Island. He joins us now live from South Point. And Jim, you've been showing basically the waves and how they've picked up through the day. Beautiful pictures, but there's a telling story there.
Yeah, there really is, Mike. This thing was a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 135 miles an hour, and it's basically been churning up those waves and throwing them toward the Hawaiian Islands. Granted, it's weakened, as Stephanie just talked about, but you've still got, obviously, the waves that this thing has produced. This is an interesting part of Hawaii, folks. It's very, very sacred to the Polynesians. There used to be some of the best fishing in the world right here off of this point. But what you also have is a very dangerous current. You have east-west currents meeting right here in the south, and of course as waves roll on the top of that, it can just be phenomenal to see some of this wave action here. High tide, guys, is going to be in another about 3 hours or so, and we're going to see obviously that water continue to come up, and we may actually have to move up and through here. But earlier on in the day, I mean, it's just amazing watching what probably are anywhere from 8 to 10 foot faces roll up to the beach, crash up 15, 20 feet, and then spray another 10 feet on top of that. So an amazing sight, Mike, indeed, and obviously the telltale signs of a system offshore. Now, we're on the leeward side of an island, so we're getting downslope winds. There's very little low cloud deck here at all. We've had very, very little rain. That is going to change tonight. Let me show you Sky Tracker radar here. You can see the center of circulation in comparison to where we are, which is South Point, about 100 miles. So on Steph's advisory, 165 from Hilo, we're about 100 miles from that. But more importantly, look at the rain, the steady rain that is basically coming out from the circulation center. And that is what's going to roll into this area as we go into tonight. So you take that kind of rain, accompanied by a near 14,000-foot Mauna Kea and Mauna Lea mountain range, on top of lava, all right, which is what this is. It's a volcano, and you're talking about a huge threat for flash flooding in through here. That's what happened back in Estelle with Estelle in 1986, and that's what could happen again with this storm. Let me show you how people are taking this so far and what we've seen. People are heading to the stores. They're buying what we see happen when there's a hurricane threat in the United States. Preparation items, the food, the non-perishables, the water, the batteries. People have also been boarding up and even taping up their windows. So even though it's old school taping up, they're still doing it in through here. How are local residents feeling? We got a chance to talk to Greg Legault, and this is what he had to say about how they're getting ready for Flossie.
In the range of speculation about this storm, locals that have been here a long time kind of poo-poo them getting really bad. They generally somehow miss the island enough so that we just get the peripheral winds. And then on the other hand, there are people that are boarding up their windows and taking precautions.
So my point to those who are poo-pooing, as Greg says, is look, even though the storm is weakening and the storm may actually bypass the southern tip of the island on a parallel, the effects will be tonight, Mike, in the way of rain. And we're talking about rainfall that could accumulate certainly over 10 inches in some of those mountains. And as I mentioned, rock feeling in tropical rains is not a good combination. Flash flooding is a huge threat here on the Big Island tonight. Back to you.
It's definitely something that we're watching for, Jim, but also rain could be a beneficial thing for Hawaii.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, not only is the United States suffering from drought and fire, like you mentioned, there's a big fire on Oahu here, which is where I was yesterday in Honolulu, but we could use the rain. Check out some of these deficits here. Hilo down 17 inches, Kahului down 7 3/4, as is Honolulu. But what's interesting is you look at Hilo and you say, oh, wow, they've had 76% of their normal rainfall. So that's really not too bad. But Kahului, on the other hand, as is Honolulu's case, only 35 and 27% respectively. The range of rainfall from the windward side to the leeward side, Mike, is extraordinary. Some of the rainiest parts of the world here are on the Hawaiian Islands, and some of the driest parts of the world are no more than 60 miles away. And that's why making up rainfall in cities like Kahului and Honolulu is a huge deal, and they're hoping to do that with this hurricane.
As long as we can keep the flash flooding away. Jim Cantore in the Big Island of Hawaii. Jim, thank you very much. Also watching a couple other systems out there, and Steph tracks them right now.
That's right. We want to take you to the Gulf of Mexico. This is a look at our water vapor map. It shows you the moisture in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. Now, here's where we have been focused. Right here, north of the Yucatan, this cluster of thunderstorms, hurricane hunters flew in, did not find anything organized. This is an upper level low making its way into Texas right now. This actually helped form this cluster of thunderstorms. What is going to happen in the coming days? Well, what we anticipate is for this mass of clouds to move into Texas, and we don't need any more rain here. Now, the thing with this is, whether this is just a broad area of low pressure, a tropical depression, or a tropical storm, we will see the same effects with this. All of that green, basically moisture moving into places like Victoria, Corpus Christi, Brownsville. We are well above average in several places here. Corpus Christi over 30 inches above average on rainfall, so we most certainly do not need it. The other system number 3, Tropical Storm Dean, right now holding on to 40-mile-per-hour winds. Tropical storm, it gets named at 39 miles per hour, but we do anticipate for this to come together. Right now, not looking that impressive. Mike and I were talking about this during the break, but it is dealing with some shear. What we anticipate is for those winds to die down and Tropical Storm Dean to crank up, and we do anticipate for this to become a hurricane. It will continue to move westbound, and if you're traveling to the Antilles, well, it does look like it could be there in anywhere from 3 to 3.5 days. Where it goes from there, well, you're going to have to stay tuned to Abrams and Bettes and the Weather Channel to find out. We'll have more on this with our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons, at 10 till the top of the hour. Mike, what else is coming up?
Well, coming up next, we track storms moving across the Midwest. Will they do what storms did to Richfield, Minnesota? A security camera captured the flooding as it happened. We have the latest coming up next on Abrams and Bettes Beyond the Forecast.